not quite 8 o'clock. I wanted to start a little bit early because we got a few things to talk about before we get started with the house tours. But it is house tours day. It's Exiles' turn, so we'll be running along on that side of the fence. Um, Let me put out my tweet real quick. Done. Okay, so a few things we need to mention. First of all, I had said yesterday on the stream that I wasn't sure how we wanted to do any kind of special themed house tours. Last year we did a few weeks of just spooky homes. I was kind of checking some of those out this morning, and I noticed that a good majority of them have either closed up shop or I didn't get access to them for one reason or either they went private or it just says character does not exist, that kind of thing. So I think if we do a kind of a main spooky themed type of house tours episode, it'll have to be a lot of newer ones, and I suspect there aren't too many out right now. I've been doing some random tours and haven't really come across too many that are specifically themed Shades Eve. I expect there will be more popping up now that we're in October and folks are starting to get into the Shades Eve spirit. The event itself hasn't started yet. I think it's set to do that on the 19th, but I think as we get closer towards the end of the month, we'll see more and more. So what I'm thinking is if you have an existing Shades Eve plot from last year um, and would like to mention it, feel free to do so. We'll use those as fillers, but what I'm really looking for are newer builds or um, refurbished slash extended builds from last year. Like if you had a build last year like such as Penny Dreadful's place, if you've added to it or significantly changed it, updated it, whatever, I would really like to, or if it's simply new altogether, I would really like to focus on those, and then we'll fill it up with older ones that have been around for a while. So if you have a plot or if you know of someone with a plot or you've run across a plot that fits any of that criteria, please feel free to bring them to my attention. We'll do something, depending on how many we get on the list, we may just do a whole week of tours, just do one or two a day or something, or I might just compile them into one for that, not the last week of October because that'll be the showcase day, but the week before, I guess that'd land around on the 26th or so. We'll put together a whole Shades Eve spooky plot homage then. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to mention that to get you guys thinking about it because I know a lot of folks kind of wait until they see what kind of new stuff is coming out before they start building. Just a heads up too, I'll probably do the same thing for Winterfest. So if you need the time to plan ahead and get your stuff in order so that you get it done in time, now's a good time to be thinking about that. Even if you don't start building on it, already start planning it, like what kind of materials you might need to collect and all that kind of stuff. Because again, if Carbine was to surprise us with some kind of a housing competition, they're not going to give you a whole lot of forward notice. So being prepared, either having already started the build or have it, planned out, all the items collected, that's going to play in favor of you if they only give you a few days notice. Because I know a lot of us, it takes us months to finish a build. And having just a few weeks notice saying, hey, this is the theme we're looking for, that can be a bit of a pinch. So just a word of note for upcoming holiday. Good morning, Bones, Cheeky, Poi, and anyone else that happens to be around. Glad you guys can join us. As far as specific announcements, I do want to remind you that today is scheduled maintenance day. It's set to start at its usual time, 4 a.m. PDT, 1 p.m. CEST time, or CET time. I don't know if it's changed yet. Um, it's due to last about an hour and a half, according to their little announcement post. So it's not too terribly long, but again, if you would rather get in some playtime and instead of watching this live, feel free to do so. You can always catch this on YouTube afterwards at your leisure. So understandable if you want to get some playtime there. Um, Also, we do have, well, we have one event ongoing right now, and we're going to have another event coming up really soon. So the one that's going on right now is the Double XP Explosion event. Usually it was like a weekend thing, but this time they've got it for a 2-week long event. It started yesterday and it runs till the 17th of October. This is where, any character that you haven't gotten up to max level, this is your opportunity to zip those right up along their leveling stages. I myself haven't really taken advantage of it. I probably won't. But for those of you with lots of alts that would like to see some of the higher end stuff, or maybe you want to get some alts raid ready or at least dungeon ready, then this is a good opportunity to do that. For those that prefer to kind of just they want to take the time to smell the roses and read all of the, enjoy the lore and everything. Sometimes these events feel a little rushed because you kind of outgear and out level the zones really fast. But you can always go back and check it out later if you want. But a good opportunity to again gain access to housing decor or fab kit bits and things like that with alts that you normally wouldn't. It doesn't necessarily, I don't think it increases rep gain, but at least to get you in, your foot in the door for specific reputations. So that's a good thing. The other thing that is coming up on October 7th through 11th, I believe that would be this weekend coming up, is the Z Pre Invitational. It's the hoverboard racing event. Um, I think the only new thing they mentioned was there's a new hoverboard up for grabs. The Bingle, not the Bingle, the Bumblebee, I think is what it's called. Something about a bee, I don't know. Bumblebee, I think. Um, and while that's not really housing related, there are some housing items. There's the burning fire track and the lightning bolt thing. I'm pretty sure those are going to still be available. So if you can find, think of some good uses for those particular decor pieces, then this is your chance to grab some extras. And of course, if you don't use them and grab some anyway, it might be something that you can sell throughout the year for other folks that need the extras or something. Okay, so housing tours. We have Exiles up today. And we've got one that's kind of a retour, sort of. It's a half and half. Half of it we haven't seen before, half of it we have. Um, and then two new ones. Really excited about all of these because they're all fantastic builders. Really, all of the homes that we visit are by fantastic builders. I appreciate not just the creativity of everyone's efforts, but their willingness to share it with everyone else. I know a lot of folks like to keep their places private even after they're done. They keep it reserved for neighbors only, just for their guild mates, that kind of thing. Or they're just, like to show pictures of it, but they don't really want people to come in and taking a closer look for whatever reason. That's fine, but I really appreciate those that open their plots up to visitors to give them a chance to be inspired by their work and efforts. So this is Little Ravenshire by Theron Vicaris. This is a plot I've had on my radar for a little while, actually probably longer than that. But I just assumed it was not quite done, but I happened to, in a roundabout way, got in contact with the builder. It was just a kind of a lucky thing. It wasn't that I knew that they were building this one in particular. It just happens to be I started talking to them, and then we realized, or I realized who they were. We toured a place of theirs before, and I was like, oh well, I've got this one on my radar too. And they go, well, it's basically done. So here we are. You can see, I want to note that they do have those little fly things from the waterfall, the core pack zipping around. Theirs kind of show up a little better than mine. I probably have the size wrong on mine or something. Anyway, so here we are, and I don't know if this is supposed to be reminiscent of some place in a book, in a movie. I don't know. I just like the way they've done a lot of like the landscaping using the stones for not only some of the edging for the plot, but also for steps, water trim for the little river here. Notice again, a lot of people want to hide the transporter, the little teleporter pad. Others, they just find ways to kind of make it work, even if it's stuck like it is. I think it would be great if one day Carbine gave us some options to be able to, if nothing else, just modify it slightly. You know, have it this plain one and then have maybe a Orin themed one and a Chua themed one and then so on and so forth, just to kind of help us mix it up a little bit. Maybe we wouldn't be so prone to hiding it all the time. But you can see it's pretty open. And I think it's the standard sky that they have. I'm not really sure. I don't switch my skies around too much, so I don't remember the names of them. But you can see they've got, it looks a little bit like they've got some of the Protostar Insta-Hills here. And mostly using those bramble bushes that I like to use for trees. The thorny bulb trees, not thorny, I think it's just green bulb trees or something. The weeping willows, and of course a little bit of the olive tree there. Some of these bushes, bulberry bushes, I think is what it's called. But I like the way they use these. I think I remember telling you guys that the one is slanted, so it has that little bit of an uplift in it. And if you put it in end to end, it kind of looks like an entryway, and they've really used that to their advantage, kind of blocking off portions of the property, but leaving a little gap. And they've done that really nicely. I like that a lot. So as far as the water, it's just a combination of winding rivers and the regular waterfalls. And remember, we do have access to the newer ones. But I've heard some people, and including myself, having trouble working with them. They're a little cantankerous as far as their alignment goes with like the levels of the water at the base. Um, they're very particular. It's not like you can just build your rocks and then put in the water and it fits perfectly. You have to put in the water first and build the rocks around it, I think, because there's just, it's so rigid in how it's put together. I don't know, it seems strange, but I think I find these particular waterfalls easier to work with for whatever reason. They're just, you know, straight and to the point, and they don't have these weird little leanings and stuff. But you can see they've used bits of grass and stuff to kind of make it look a little lively. I love the bridge. It's just basically metal edge 2x4s for the railing, and then decking pieces for the bridge itself. I love the look of that. Simple, but it's, you know, it's custom. Uh, it's one of those that if it was wider, they just would have to add a few extra pieces, but it just looks really nice. I like that a lot. Let's go this way, I guess. Oh, are you? Well, I wish you much luck, Bones. Because I had trouble because when I put it in, if you put it in at like, you know, the regular straight up 90, you know, 000 or whatever, the bottom at least for me, maybe it's I had the water itself crooked, but the water with the little poofy stuff at the bottom was slanted. So I had to turn it slightly to make it flat, and then that messed this up. So I don't know how to describe it. It might just be me and my bad building habits, but I had trouble, and I think Koi said that she had trouble as well. They were just very persnickety. So this is one of the aircraft that you can get. I think it's from the ship, not the ship hand, the expeditions. Again, I think they're using the Protostar Insta-Hills for some of these raised areas, like around the edge here. I don't know which ones. There's just a pack of like 4 or 5, and excuse me, and you figure out which ones work for you. Hey, nobody, or Mister. Excuse me. It looks like they're just using some domes or cylinders for this little landing pad area. Just have them, several of them layered up to give it a little different. And again, trimming it with those hedges, the brambles. I noticed a lot of people using this particular, the Draken Emporium, little shopkeeper's hut. And I think the majority tend to size it up and use it as like a little roofing. Um, I find that kind of funny. But you can see this one it's kind of like made it into a little garden shed. They've added some plants on the shelves and filled the little buckets on the side with greenery as well. You could probably change it up and actually make it look like there's little, like maybe rows of vegetables, or maybe make one a pumpkin patch, that kind of thing. You could probably add some other tools and stuff to really help build it up. But I like the idea of that. Hey, Aurora, good morning. Yeah, see, that's what I mean. You'd have to put the waterfall in first and then build around it, I think. That would probably be the safest. Okay, so back here we have a little mini house. I don't know if it's like maybe it's the gardener's shop or what. It's mostly different types of floors. They've got the Exile floor, and then they split it by layering on top of that the Orin version. So it's a combination of the two, just to give it a little different how they've split it like that. And then the granite pillars, and then the dome on top. I don't really like using the doors so much, but see how it clashes, because really you would need an arch door, and then we don't have any straight openings for that. It just irks me. Maybe it's a hunter's home. It's got a little trap there. I don't know. Looks like some uncomfortable chairs as well. Over here we have another little house. This one's a combination of dome and extension. You can see it back here. Again, they're having fun with layering the different floor styles to just give it a different look. I mean, it looks completely different on this side than it does the other. And I like the playing around with the textures. You have Orin, Exile, and then over here you've got 2x4s, breaking it up. Using the little gate for the doorway there. And this is just one of the bars sunk down to make it look like a desk. Just interesting little combos. Again, this kind of build and like the town builds are great places to come for ideas for buildings if you're looking for a new way to put a building together. So here's another one. Again, just experimenting with layering. how the lines, all of the floors and such have those edges, and sometimes it's fussy, you want to hide the edges, and this one they just let the edges show and use that um, to their advantage to give it a special design on the wall. Also using the layered glass to decorate a little bit. Again, mostly just Exile and Oran combos. This one's like a two-story building here. This is that squid platform for the spiral staircase. Just topped and trimmed with a little bit of Exile floor and dome to kind of cover up the parts that they don't want showing. Again, just having that little bit there helps break that all up. That's something I have a real bad habit of not doing. I just leave my walls blank, and just a little bit of decoration helps. Here's another interesting build. This one's like a diamond-shaped building. Very strange, but unique. Again, they're playing with the floors, seeing in what different ways they can combine them, and just having fun with it. They have this on again, this is one of those Protostar Insta Hills. It's the one with the hole in the middle, and they've just turned it into a bit of a pond. I don't know what for sure they're using for it. I assume it's the bottom of one of those exotic silver chalices, but it could be, I don't think it's layered glass. It looks a little too opaque for that, and you don't see the layers. So I suspect it's the bottom of a glass of some sort, because it is a little see-through, but of course you can't sink into it. So, and I think that's partly because of the size of it. The bigger the chalice is, the more get that little bit of a stepping in it. But it could be something else. It's really shiny. It could be a different glass. I just don't know. Very cute. And of course, they added the little water plants to help play with the idea that that's a bit of water. But again, the house is, or this building, I don't know if it's actually a house, but just odd combinations. You see some Draken, Exile, Oran, even some Osun here. So we have the living room here, our dining and kitchen, I guess. And then you have the upper room with the bedroom and like a little mini office. And again, you can see how they've layered things, how it meets. They even added some little shelves here. It's just 2x4s for books. Same way on this side. It'd be a great place for books, keepsakes, plushie collection. A really unique shape of a home for sure. You don't see too many diamond homes. But again, I think a lot of folks enjoy playing with different ways rather than just making the usual cracker box style homes, finding unique ways to combine them into something a little bit more. This almost looks like a sculpture type of home. Of course, the stairs are just the sandstones there. Again, I like the way they're divvying up the property using those brambles as nice hedging to kind of keep you in. It also makes the yard look trimmed, but you can see they've got these little openings here and there so that you can get through without having to go all the way around every time, like so. and this way. There's the garden fab kit. So here we have another little house. You see this one's a little bit more compact. Again, just different combinations of the same parts. You've got the curved walls, the domes, a little bit of 2x4, mostly orange flavor for the walls. And here's a nice little simple house. You got the kitchen, the dining, and the bedroom. All your basic necessities. This is just that awful round table. They've sunk it down so that you don't have those big tall legs. Got a nice view of the other house over there. Same way there. Again, nice way of using those hedges. Here's a super tiny house. Look at this one. It's just got the peaked roof using the floors. Then it's got the flat part. Almost looks like a little church. I really don't know what's in here. Nope, it's just someone's house. There's the bedroom and a living room. It could be like somebody's cottage, like if you have your main prefab home and you want to add a little small place for like maybe your guildmate that you always have over, then you can build them their own little custom cottage. These kind of little mini homes are perfect. This would be a good example of like give everybody the same little frame and then have them decorate it up, see how fancy they can get. Kind of like our modular house. Let's see if we go up the steps here. Again, this is mostly just sandstone that they've used. And I want to say it's just a giant giant bit of either gray stone or sandstone for this whole area. I think it's gray because it looks a little different color. Now it could be just the lighting. See how this looks gray as well. So it's probably just a lot of sandstone to make this whole raised area here. And then they've patched it with little bits of grass. So here we have, well, there's the little garden area. They've used a lot of the flowers that you get from the spring decor pack. For those that missed it, if you happen to be a signature player, that is still available on the signature shop. I think they call it the signature station. Last I checked, it was anyway. I think that's the way they want to do some of these limited time packages. It'll be available for everyone for a certain amount of time, but then it moves off to the signature station so that those that are actually paying a monthly sub for these extra benefits, they still have access to them. So if you missed it, you can still get a hold of it. These here, I think those are those thorny bramble trees, and they've just got the thorny bit stuck down and using the bush part for a little bit of decoration, just to give it a little different look than just using those brambles the whole time. This looks to be like a little fuel station. Maybe it's the car garage where they do some repairs. Again, just a little mini home. This time they're using the tiki roof as the topper. Here we have a little gazebo. We've seen many of these and they always look different, but they always look great. Think, oh, I'd like that one. Then you come across another one and go, oh, I like that one too. But yeah. Anywho, we have the gazebo. It's just some domes up top and bottom, a couple of different ones just to give a little difference in texture. And then you have the granite pillars. Got a little bit of the mossy overgrowth. Remember, there's the two different types. They're using the regular one over here and the mossy one on this one, just to give a little bit of greenery. I think this is the Falcon fire pit. It's one of the two. I don't know if it's the Falcon or Pella or something like that. But a really nice little framed work. It's just, several pillars across and then raised ones for the openings all around. You hear some noise, that's the workers outside. They're continuing their work on the road. I think they just tore up the whole sidewalk part. So this is another building. It's a little bit larger. I suspect this is more like I want to say it's like an inn type of thing. But you can see again, they've been playing with combinations of, how they split it and make one floor one color, or texture, one floor a different one. They're using the granite pillars again. It helps match the pavilion, the gazebo, whatever you want to call it. Again, layered glass for some of the window decorations. It's just when you layer them, they become frostier in those sections. So if you layer multiples, you get these nice little designs. So this kind of looks like a rose. You've got the diamonds on the sides. We've seen people make fan shapes and all sorts of complex arrangements. So we'll go into the main door here. Again, the stairs are just layered domes. You have the foyer here. The little bits here, those are just the tops of the Cassian pillars being used as the little pedestals for their displays. Here's the dining room, using just a series of picnic tables to make the one long one. This little cupboard here is mostly, I think, just 2x4s. It's oversized ones, and you just see the ends of it just sunk down into the floor, and then smaller ones for the sides and shelving. Again, as you can imagine, most builders, especially if they're as detailed with all of these houses and all of the bits that they're using to make them, it ends up being where you can't fill them with the decorations you would probably like to, because you end up hitting your decor cap. So I imagine they would probably want to put maybe their best chinaware up here, a collection of books, little knickknacks. They might have wanted to put handles here to represent the cabinet doors. Who knows what else? Some special. It looks like one of those little cupboards that, for old, antique or special dishes and such. One thing I do want to note about the fireplace, you'll notice it on the other side as well, so you can see the room from the other way. This is one way to kind of have your decor do double duty. They are using it in a way that it's basically really big, and they've split it in half. So you got half of the fireplace visible on this side, and the other half is, so it basically they built one thing, but they're able to use it in both rooms, which is very clever. I think this is the dreg fencing that they're using for the little wire bit here, and the rest of it's just Cassian floors, all of it. But I thought that was a clever way of doing the one piece and having it visible in both rooms. You can see it's also here. Using the clunky fire extinguisher as the aquarium. Again, it's very favorite because of the bubbles come up. It's compact, it's a little blue, so it's got that representation of water. The best thing is always to use plants and things to have a little bit of motion. It plays into the idea that there's actually water in there. No, we're not having a wedding. But I'm glad you caught it. I still need to move her out. I guess I need to put her where Frankie is because she's still on Dill's plot. I'll eventually move her over. I may put her actually inside the little haunted house fab kit there. I haven't decided. I'm afraid if she goes into that really dark lighting, you might not see everything, but I'll test it and see. But no, no wedding. That would be something though. I'm sure there's somebody that has like a Halloween Shades Eve slash type of wedding. Of course, this is the other entrance, I think. Side entrance. Let's go this way. That leads to upstairs, but we'll go take a look over here. This is the other side entrance. Brings you out to the little hugel pile. I love the little pool table here. Basically, I think it's the sad portrait, the one with the little sad guy's face on it. I think they're using that as the framework here. As for the tabletop, granite floors for the green, and then dome halves, and I think it's one of the massive ocular spheres for the balls. Drake and spears for the cue sticks, and I think it's just one of those basic crates for the base. A couple of them maybe. Very simple, but you know, they didn't even go through the effort of putting in the holes and everything, but you know what it is or what it's supposed to be, and that's really all that matters. Again, some of us get caught up in the details. We'd have to have, you know, all of the balls, the holes, the little rack for them, and everything else. And sometimes you just don't have to go that detailed. Here's the kitchen. Again, mostly Cassian. They've used the bars for some of the cabinetry and then topped that again with the Cassian bits. There's the little dining nook. And then the pantry, again, I'm sure they would have loved to stock it with, you know, grain sacks and meats and other, you know, filled troughs and stuff like that. No, Bones, they're not going to Hollywood. Yeah, I sent you a reply, Aurora. We'll be taking a look at her place here shortly. And yes, I saw the bit that you were doing in the bunker. If you would like, we will avoid the bunker contents so that you can kind of keep that to yourself for a little longer. But I did see it. It looks pretty amazing so far. But I will show where you can get access to the bunker because I think you changed it. Yeah, today. Well, maybe if you make a Hollywood plot, then I'll give you a copy of Frankie and his bride. Yeah, me too, Poi. I do that a lot, which is bad because that eats up your decor the more detailed you get. But you know, sometimes you just can't resist. So up the stairs we go to the second level. This could probably be a lounge area. They could probably put in some kind of a sectional couch with a TV or something. Again, I'm sure there was a lot of things they would like to add or may add later, but decor count. The doors are just simply the wood dividers. It's either the light honey or the dark one, I don't know. And the handles are the wire bundles. Notice again, these are doing double duty. It's one piece, but it's being shown on both sides. So it makes it easier. That's a good way to, it's a small thing, but it's a good way to kind of reduce that decor count rather than having two individual pieces. Again, playing with textures, you've got the tribal floor mats for the carpet in here, and then breaking up the monotony of the walls, which is some extra wall there. Here's the bathroom. Nice little tub thing going on here. This is that, I think it's the Osun drum or fence or something. I don't know what it is. It's Osun appearing looking. Some Merg dynamite for the handles, of course the waterfall for the water. I don't know what they're using for the water in the bowl. I suspect again it's another bottom of a glass of some sort. And then just a giant bowl for the tub. Of course, nautical decorations are a fave for bathrooms, so they've thrown some of those in. And for the sink, again, I don't know what they're using for the water. It could be layered glass, it could be just another glass, but it's basically a bathroom sink sunk into an Oran style dresser. And then the mirror they're using, I think that's the body scanner. It's usually flat and you have the little keypad and everything on the side, and they just got it upright. It's a really good use of that particular item. Excuse me. Elvis sweating. What, the Chapel o' Love? Yeah, I saw that, Aurora. I thought that was pretty nice. Excuse me. Yeah, like I said, I'll show where it is, but I'm not going to show it the interior of the bunker on the stream because maybe you want to keep that secret. I'd like to keep it secret just to show it for the CBDC showcase. But yeah, I know some of you guys tend to kind of I think it's better to have like a little tester plot or a tester area to keep for those little CBDC bits. Hi, Cope. Glad you could join us. So here's the, I guess it's the Party Fab Kit or the Festival Fab Kit. It's one of the two. Again, they've boxed it with hedges and such just to kind of make it fit in a little better with their particular scenery. The other side entrance here, and of course they're using the little Kurg. He's all roped off here. He's got his water trough. They're using a hanging cable for the harness bit. Go this way. Here's a little pen with some animals. Again, they're using the corpse as a live roan. Looks a little wasted there. But notice how they have his wound on the side where the rock is touching it to try and hide that part. Yeah, welcome to WildStar. It's definitely a different game. I mean, it has similar aspects, but I think it's got a lot of things that make it special. gonna miss it when you go to another game. Like when I play WoW now, I miss the double jump, which I know the demon hunters have it, but it's really not the same. Or the sprint. I don't know what this building is supposed to be. I was looking for the door, but it doesn't appear to actually have one. Um, it's just basically, it looks like, well, there's the door. Gosh, I went right by it, didn't I? It looks like granite walls for the sides and then topped with Draken floors. What is this? Oh, okay, so this is the bank fab kit, and they've turned it into like a little building. Again, this is one of those creative ways of hiding. I didn't even recognize what this was. It's the bank fab kit. You get access to that. Very, very fun. Of course, the faux doors are just the metal dividers. There's that picture that I guess it wasn't the sad guy's face, it was the profile portrait that they were using for the pool table. Very fun stuff. Again, it's a fun way of hiding a clunky looking fab kit that you want to kind of blend in with what you have planned for your plot, even if you want to keep access to it. Okay, so here's the prefab home. This is the main house part. You can see it looks like the bottom of one of the stair things, either the Elden one or Dominion one or something. I don't know what they're using exactly here, but it's upside down and you're just seeing the bottom of it. But it's a nice way of making like a little marbled area here for this fountain. I haven't even, I had some old guildmates that went into that one, Cope, but I have no interest. I'm too immersed in this game. So here's the interior of the main home. We have a little bit of a dining room section. We've got the kitchen. I love this kitchen. I think that's usually just my favorite spot of most houses. Just the way they've done it differently too. This is an oversized lamp. I don't know which one off the top of my head, but being used for the interior lamp here. This cabinet here, which also could be quite easily set up as a kitchen island, is just one of the corrugated metal containers topped with some floors. The shelving here is just a wall and 2x4s. Same way here. And I love how they left this open. You could easily turn this, make it a little wider and you have like a little, for like a diner area or, you know how some houses are split where they've got the living room and the kitchen, but it's like just a half wall or something that could easily be changed into something like that. But I like how this particular house has that little stage area, and so many people have trouble figuring out how to work that in, and this is a great way of using this space. Notice they're using rugs for the table cloths. So upstairs, it's basically like a little lop shop. They've got gear, um, all your like I guess it's like outfits and such. Over here you've got collectibles like scrolls and chests and knickknacks and such. Over here you have more like your weaponry, um, uh, explosives, traps, things like that. So it's like a little general shop area. Notice this vendor, there's some custom shelves. It's again just 2x4s behind the curtain there. Most of this is Draken pillars and then just a variety. Again, this is part of that inset piece, and they've just built this in to kind of, I like how they're using different walls to accent the different. This looks more, you know, two alike because it's got the two vendor, and this looks all cutesy on this side. For this bit here, those are metal planks with the glass. A really nice way of splitting up the berm. Oh, do you, Bones? I alternate between WildStar and World of Warcraft. Because we got the Legion thing going on. Although I'm getting sick of the world quests already. Yeah, the hedge idea with the arches is real nice. I tend to use that not as dramatically as they did. Because again, the one that's leaning and it naturally goes upwards. So if you put two of them together, it just gives you that nice little bit. Well, I never actually stopped playing WoW, so it was just a no-brainer that I would go ahead and continue on with it. I'm not sure what this is doing there. It looks like maybe they were planning on boxing in all of the stools just to make them look a little different. Here's the public restroom, our favorite toilet there with the pressure dividers as the little sectionals there. Really some narrow rooms. Here's the home theater. Just using one of the, I think it's the Exiles screen or the big screen bit. Let's see. I already got, I already went in there. Now we go up. I like the little balcony here. It's just a staircase landing and a couple of those wooden fences. Simple, but it works. And again, here's like a little gaming room. Again, plushie collection being shown. Just many things that they could put in here. Just some lounge area, some sectional couches, a fireplace, all sorts of stuff. I'm sure, again, they probably had lots planned, but from what I understand, they've hit cap. It could be that maybe they're still working on collecting some of the items that they want to use. But yeah, I love the hedges there for that. Okay, so that's Little Ravenshire by Theron Vacaris. I've been playing for, wow, for like, I don't know, 10 years. It was basically my first major game. I played a little bit of like Baldur's Gate and I still play Diablo a little bit, Diablo 3, but World of Warcraft was like my first major MMO, and so it still holds a place in my heart. So I probably won't ever stop playing it because I've just invested so many years in it. My little gnome, she's like my favorite. But WildStar with the housing and stuff, that's too hard to pass up. So I've got to play it too. Yeah, there is. I just there's so much. There's so much to do with this latest expansion. It's overwhelming, really. Okay, so moving on. We're going to visit Naya Soundbite. Now, you might recognize this one from a previous tour. We didn't, we toured this one, I really don't know how far back. It's been a few months, I think. What we're going to do is mainly we're here for the bunker house. The bunker house wasn't ready when we first visited. Um, but we're going to tour the rest of it just kind of not super quickly, but I'm not going to go over everything that they've used like I did last time. I'm going to reserve that for the bunker. But for those that didn't see it before or don't care to revisit some of the older videos just to look it up, we're going to go ahead and go back through the rest of the plot first before we do the new stuff. So this is Sunset Isle. This is Maddie's alt spot. You can see that they've basically used the purple rock arches for this tunnel that seems to go on forever. And it leads you to the bunker house, which is inside this little gazebo here. We'll come back to that. The little stepping stone things are the arches upside down. It's just you just see the little bits. The water is an oversized exotic silver chalice. You'll see that extensively used on the outside for the water, because remember this is like a beach house kind of thing. Again, like the never-ending tunnel. But basically, or Maddie has brought us up really high, because if you go out to the edge here where the end of the plot is, you'll notice that you don't actually hit the you hit the barrier, but you don't see it. And that's because of the height that Maddie has built this. But it looks amazing. It's basically using some of those Protostar Insta Hills for the little mountains out there. See, I'm at the edge, but you don't see the fencing. You can barely see the outline here, but you don't see the barrier pop up, and that's very important for this particular plot. But you can see there's a lighthouse up here. They've used, again, the purple rock arches like crazy here for all of this like cliff work. And then they built a custom house on top. And then this is all just sandy beach here. Just crazy, crazy stuff. Again, the water is, you can see the white puffs. That's because we're actually on an upside down snowy hill. That's how they've elevated the ground. The entrance is actually way down below, around in here somewhere, I think. But the water, again, is the silver chalice. The reason you can kind of go in the water is because the bottom of the chalice is such that there's like no collision on the direct bottom of the surface. It's slightly in. So the bigger you make the chalice, the deeper the water. So if you make it really big, then it looks like you're submerged quite a ways. But of course, as you can see, if my camera moves, the water disappears. As far as how Maddie got the hills way out there, I imagine it's probably those double hills, and they've just been really supersized, and you're just seeing the little tip of it. I honestly don't know how how Maddie got it out there like that. They may have taken advantage of the bunker house kind of bugginess, because I think Katia uses it so that she'll be in the bunker house, oversize a pine tree, like huge, and then you can see it outside, but she only uses like the tip of it to make it look like trees off in the distance. So how that works, I don't know. I've never really fiddled with it much myself. But so yeah, so we have beach, using, of course, the new summer decor packs. Little sand and bucket thing for someone wanting to do their sandcastle stuff. Again, some of the firework decor, beach balls. You've got this nice little dock area. I think if I recall right, most of these little banisters here are upside down tiki roofs, thorny logs for the roof. You'll see the tribal mats used extensively here and up in the house for a lot of the wall texture. Lovely little table. Again, I'm just kind of skimming over this part because we've already streamed and toured it before, but it's just too amazing to go without it completely. So here's a little beach bar kind of thing. Come and get your drinks, get a little bit of grilled meats. And then you can go up to the house proper. Lovely little walkway, mostly just pillars and decking pieces. Those are those new taurine torches, I think, the Gothic pillars, and Galeras walls, I think, for all of this. Lots of greenery to kind of help junglify this top area. And then just tons and tons of pillars for this house. It's just unreal how many were used. But amazing. I can't imagine. I'm sure the help of Katya's add-on made this a lot less mind-numbing as it probably could have been without that particular tool. But this just is a wonderful example of what one can do with just one particular item, and they've used it for the walls, for the roof, the floor, the railing, everything. It's just, but that helps tie it all together. It all has the same coloring and everything. Just looks awesome. Doors, of course, are part of that, the new exotic decor pack. We've got the beach chairs here, all custom, the table, everything. Again, those tribal mats. Here's the library. The little grid pattern here looks like chicken wire. Those are from the Osun, yeah, Artera rep vendor. Here's the TV again, the couch. All of this is custom. It's beach towels and hover park pieces, even for the TV. Reminds me of what's that little space cartoon? George something. George Jetson, the Jetsons. I think that's what it reminds me of. I think it's because of the curvy shape and the way the bottom is. It just looks like that little, the 50s and 60s people's versions of, in the, yeah, you just kind of, it's just jaw-dropping what Maddie puts together. And it's the same way with other builders. Aurora's going to wow us here very shortly. Here's the kitty bedroom. Got the beds up top, the little steps, and being used as double use for shelving. And then you've got the clothing closets at the bottom. Again, it's a lot of the summer towels. I think it's the wooden crates for the handles. Fun way of using the posters to decorate the kitty's room. If you've got any specific questions about something that I passed by, feel free to give a poke. Here's the master bedroom. Again, 2x4s. Just think of how many items are being used for this. And then you know, when you go to put together your house and you start getting close to that 2,500 cap, you're thinking, how in the world did they get all this in there without hitting cap way earlier? But I love the bed, very classic looking. Of course, again, hints of those exotic decor bits. Um, this one used for the vanity table. Here's the bathroom, double sink. Fancy toilet. I love all of the custom toilets. Just a little decoration with the Oran windows, just to kind of brighten it up so it's not all just stuffs. And of course the shower. I think it's mostly travel posters from what I remember. See how they've got this little triangle of a space and they've managed to squeeze all this in there. Nice. Okay, so we've got those. Let's go this way. Again, look at that roof. That's the panels that you get from the cash shop. A lot of people get frustrated because if you want multiples of a color, you have to buy several of the packs. But this is, at first I thought it was like a TV screen, but it's supposed to be like an artwork piece. You know, that new age art where it's just like a splotch. Yeah, they should. So here's some more custom couches, again using a lot of the summer decor and in combo with the uh, cover part pieces. This is one of those space chase items. I think it's an antenna of some sort. Dining room here. Again, part of the space chase lights, and then they've just capped it with like a dome and a chain to make it look like a. Look at the vase even with the flowers. All of those little pollen blooms mushed together. Make that very lovely bouquet, and then the bowls stacked for the vase. Just lovely little details like that. Here's an astounding kitchen again. It's usually one of my favorite rooms because so many people put so much care and detail into them. So here you have the kitchen. It's got a nice island, refrigerated area, oven, stove. So you see lots of combinations of things. Again, Maddie's a big fan of combining lovely textures. So you've got the um, cellar entrance for some of the brick parts, 2x4s. It's the bottom of the cellar entrance, I think, and that has that stripy look. Staircase landings for the trim. The clock itself, I think, is honestly, I don't know if it's one of the engine things from the space chase or what, but I think it's books for these parts, and then the streamers for the hands. Of course, you got the little oven thing going on again, some of those engine parts for the knobs. A lot of travel posters for some of this shelving in here. That's some of those new spring decor flowers. Of course, this thing is just, look at the 2x4s. Just off. And I want to say this was stairs, I think is what they said. It's a poster with some stairs to get those little, for like the little drying rack. But I mean, look at the floor, look at the ceiling. That's just nuts. I would never have embarked on such an ambitious build. Again, just another quick look. If I can get my camera to cooperate. Again, playing with those textures, keeping it all nice and mixed up. And of course, even the beams underneath, they went through the trouble of that. Crazy, amazing. Of course, you got the little pool here. Made it clear as you could see it, like a little lagoon or something. I think the smoke is just one of the little smokes from the new smoke pack. Looks like the green one. And of course, using the older version of the waterfall. I imagine if they wanted, they could probably add in one of the new ones. Of course, this little trim here, that's all those thinker heads, because everybody loves that mossy topping that it has. I think if I run along the edge up here, I think that's how I got to the lighthouse last time. Yeah, because I kept getting worried I was going to fall off because there comes a point where you can't see nothing with all this greenery up here. Stay on the purple, stay on the purple. Made it. So again, using those brambles just to kind of build up a bit. This is a great shot of the house on the cliff, I guess, the purple cliffs. Great shot of all the water, and you can see it's just like little hills. Of course, it kind of works up a little bit over here, but that's because, you know, you can only extend it so far. How they got the little hills out there, I have no idea. But the lighthouse itself is just drake and pillars, carefully topped up, topped with a few bowls. And I think it's a tiki torch that's being used for the flame inside there. But I'm not for sure. Okay, so that's the outside. That's just the exterior. And like I said, we've seen this part before, but I wanted to show it again because, well, it's just too amazing not to show it again. But when we came here last time, the bunker house wasn't ready, and it is now. So this is our opportunity to take a close look at it. Now the gazebo itself is Oran window, dome, and those exotic divider panels for the gazebo. If you go inside, you'll probably can't see it, but there's that little circle there. That's the very tip top of the handle on the hatch house. But if you get close enough, the open door button should pop up. So inside, we have this, looks like, again, some of the purple rock arches just for this part here. And then you come out and you can see that they've gone full nautical here. They've got the tentacles lining the wall. These are some of those new lights from Red Moon. I think you get those directly from the vendor. And a lot of the Red Moon kits, you've got the fans. These are some from the Calabar Point Daily, I think. I think it's called the sewer cap. And they've added things to it to just dress it up. Same way here. These are the bar bits from the Red Moon decor pack, but they've layered glass to kind of give it a little extra oomph. These are the nautical couches, and they just set it in so you don't see the wood part, you just see the fabric. These little decorations on the wall, I think those are either glaciers or icicles. It's one of the two that they're using for this blue decoration. What they're using for the floor and stuff, I suspect it's those Dominion shelves that kind of looks like see-through, like preservative glass kind of stuff. That's what I suspect it is. I really don't know. It's really shiny, really blue. I think that's what they're using for all of that. It's the only item I can think of that works, that looks that way. That they would probably get away with using it in that fashion. This is again one of those Red Moon pieces, and they just topped it with some of the Space Wheat plants. Of course, here we have, that's from the Summer Decor pack. Again, some of the Arctera stuff. For inside, you can see that they've gone all out with stacking up the bottles, all the different drinks and such. Again, I'm pretty sure this is just layered glass, the curved glass that they've managed to use in a way. I don't think that's how that looks. It might be how it looks. I really don't know. I haven't used any of those pieces. Again, this is the nautical couch, and they've just sunk it in so that you only see the fabric part. And then again, repeated those little icicle decorations. For this part, I'm not sure what that is. It's upside down something. I want to say it's another Red Moon item, but I really couldn't say for sure. I love the look of it though. How it's modeled a little bit and very smooth. That's a giant Tuo pillar here, same way here. And then of course you can see that they basically turned this into like an underground, like they're in an aquarium, full on. Look at this. Isn't that amazing? God. It's just nuts. I imagine a lot of it is the bubbles, I think, are coming from either the clunky fire extinguishers. I think if you turn it upside down, the bubbles still go up, so you can get away with just kind of hiding them in. Some of the bubbles are coming from the plants themselves, like the spore trees, spore bushes. The wiggling, like anemones or whatever you call them, that's from the frost spores. So it gives a lot of nice motion. Of course, this little creature here, that's one of the steam gliders from the Alien event that we had not long ago. They even made what looks to be a little sea turtle out of bowls and Hugel statues, I think. Some of the plants that's supposed to be like coral, those are the frosty flowers. It's an item directly from the vendor. It's something that came with Arctera. But they've even used some of the strain pieces, those some Naro tubes, I think, and I think this is I forget the name of the bush, but it's, I think it came with this for like Shades Eve. They got I think it's the finger flowers. Is that what those are called? Can't remember. And of course, the barnacle weeds. Now it looks like they decided to cover up the tops of the barnacle weeds. Instead of you leaving it the yellow, they topped it with some gray rocks just to make it a little different. This, I think, is one of the bumblebee, bumble hives or I forget what they're called. You can see several different kinds of plushies. I've seen the Shalarks, I think. They built a starfish. It looks like using the oh, I can't remember the piece that is. I want to say it's one of the strain pieces, but it's probably the oh, it's the same thing that Zodi used for the nose on her diglets. I want to say it was the uh, terminite um, tower. It's kind of purpley, and you turn it over, and it's got that smooth, shiny bit. I think that's what they're using for the starfish over there. And then it looks like over here for the nice little nautical shell there, it looks like Tua tubes just continually wrapped around, and then some domes to finish it off. They even have, it looks like one of the, I want to say it's a mannequin using one of those squid hats in there. And of course, the pulsating strain heart has those weird little tubes. They're using that again as just little, it looks like the kind of things that you'd see in the ocean and stuff. As far as a lot of the structure itself, it's a combination of, it looks like curved glass, a lot of the travel posters all along the edge here, and all of this, all of the metal looking parts, you look really close, those are travel posters. Even this part here, it's all travel posters that they used for this. Lots and lots of travel posters. I don't know what they're using for the nice blue out here. It could be an oversized body scanner that has a nice blue. It could be just one of these lights really big for all I know. Just amazing stuff. Yeah, boy, I know how you feel. Here, I made a Frankenstein bride, and then they got this whole shebang. Yeah, definitely. And that, comes with just kind of, again, thinking outside the box. I mean, who would think about strain pieces as being so calm and perfect for an aquarium? But the ones that Maddie used work great. Uh, it just, you're waiting for the little wormy things to pop out or something. I mean, even here, those are those little pod sacks, I think, and they're using it as like a little sea slug. Just clever stuff, clever stuff. And again, most of the stone parts, the all of the coral bits, that's the purple rock arches again. I don't know what they're using for this little coral bit. I have no idea. It looks like the bottom of something, like the roots of some kind of plant. I've got no idea. But yeah, you start thinking about textures and colors and everything, but I'm just flabbergasted at this little structure here. I mean, yes, there's a little bit of graphic flashing because some of the bits are a little bit too, I mean, they can't occupy the same space, so they flash between the two. But that's like so nothing compared to how they put this together, made it round. It's just like this little dome being built. Awesome, awesome stuff. Trying to see if I've missed anything in here, because I mean, again, it's one of those plots you can come and notice a detail that maybe you missed last time. Like the little wormy bits here. I don't know what those are. Probably one of those tentacle plants that is just supersized and just a few of them, and you never would have thought they'd be used for that. But again, notice how they're using a lot of plants and things that have motion. That helps sell the idea that this is full of water. The bubbles and stuff help, but that adding that motion is important. Because some of these are stationary, and that's fine, but you don't want everything stationary because then it just looks too still. Arc ship sconce, you're talking about these lights here? Yes, I do believe that is what those are for the lighting there. They don't seem to really give off too much light, but it might be just because they're so far up. But yeah, travel posters, again, it's one of my favorite pieces, and it's just amazing to see what people can do with them. But it's just totally transformed. This does not look like a bunker house at all. And that's, you know, part of the amazing skills of the builders, uh, being able to transform something you just wouldn't even think about. It makes it look like there's a hole up there, like a canyon or something, and they've just built in this little bar inside it. Totally nuts and crazy, but ever so amazing. Of course, that doesn't really zap you up. You have to store. But there you go. So that's Naya Soundbites Sunset Isle. Again, if you want to see more discussion about the main house, we did tour this in the past. I don't know the date offhand, otherwise I would mention it, but you can just kind of scroll back through. There is a listing on my Twitch thread in the forums. It's in the fan sites, Twitch and YouTube subforum. I keep a running roster of all the places we visit each week, so you can just quickly go through, search up Naya's name, and you'll see it on there. Okay, so the last house for today is